Before the fall, Scripture says that Adam and Eve were naked and were not ashamed. There is something almost impossible about that now. Not merely naked in body, but uncovered before God. Nothing hidden, nothing managed, nothing performed. And then suddenly after the fall, everything changes. Not only because man sins, but because man begins seeing himself differently. The eyes are opened, and for the first time man becomes self-conscious. Not God-conscious, self-conscious. That distinction matters. Because from this moment onward, man begins covering himself. First with fig leaves, then with masks, then with identities. Then when this endless construction of a version of himself, he hopes, will be enough. Modern man speaks constantly about self-expression. Scripture speaks first about concealment. We hide, not only from one another, but from God, and perhaps most strangely of all, from ourselves. There is a line in Genesis that becomes almost unbearable once seen clearly. Adam says, "I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself." Fear, exposure, hiding. The pattern begins immediately, and perhaps it is never truly stopped. Most hiding no longer looks like hiding. It looks like activity, success, noise, competence, carefully managed identity. We learn very early which parts of ourselves should remain unseen. And so we spend much of life trying to become presentable, even before God. But the question God asks in the garden is still astonishing. Not what have you done, but where art thou? And then, who told thee that thou was naked? As though something foreign has entered man's vision, as though the fall has distorted not only reality, but perception itself. Perhaps this is why Christ continually moves towards those who hide, the ashamed, the exposed, the accused, the fearful. Not because shame is unreal, but because man was never created to live permanently concealed. The strange thing is this: most people spend their lives trying to become acceptable before being seen. Scripture reveals something different. God sees first, then calls. Who told thee that thou was naked?